A causality argument observes two events and then tries to prove that one event caused another. So the standard form is I observe A and I observe B, therefore I think that A is the cause of B. There are two ways in which a causality argument can be wrong. First, the order can be wrong, meaning it could be that B actually causes A. Or there could be some other X factor that causes A, or causes B, or both causes A and B to happen together. So in the argument that people who use illegal drugs are more likely to live in poverty, therefore using illegal drugs causes poverty, the argument structure is I observe drugs and I observe poverty, therefore I think drugs is causing poverty. And the two ways that could be wrong are, first, it could be that the poverty is causing people to use drugs, meaning that if you live in poverty, you're more likely to be depressed, and you're more likely to live around other criminals. Or there could be some other X factor that causes both poverty and drugs, such as mental illness. If you have a mental illness, you are more likely to live in poverty, and if you have a mental illness, and that would explain why poverty and drugs are often seen together. This next question is actually a summary of a case study in Chicago a few years back. A few years ago, someone observed that if a child grows up in a home without any books, that child is also more likely to drop out of high school. So to fix the graduation rate, they raised money to make sure every home has books. And the plan failed miserably. The reason is the causality was wrong. They observed that we have no books and we have dropouts. Therefore, we think the no books are causing students to drop out. Like all causality problems, there are two potential weaknesses. One, it could be that the order is wrong. In this case, that would be the dropouts are somehow causing people to have no books. That doesn't make a lot of sense in this case. But the other option is that there's some other outside factor that's causing dropouts and causing no books. Further study concluded that it wasn't the no books that were causing the dropouts. It was actually really bad parents. And that would make sense because if you have a really lousy parent, that could cause you to grow up in a home with no books. And that would also cause a whole host of other problems that would eventually lead to you dropping out of high school. These kind of causality problems are so common on your exam, you're virtually guaranteed to see one or two problems on every single exam. If a question asks you to weaken a causality argument, you want to show that either the order is wrong or there's some other X factor that it's causing the observed results. In this question, the author observed that trucks with 3 trailers had less accidents than trucks that pulled a single or a double trailer. So therefore, it would make sense if we wanted to reduce the accidents and the deaths, we should use more triple trailer trucks. So to weaken this argument, we want to show that either the less accidents are causing the triple trailer trucks, or that there's some other factor that's causing the less accidents. The correct answer choice in this case observed that triple trailer trucks are used only on lightly traveled sections of major highways. And that weakens the argument because if you only drive on roads with low traffic, then naturally you would assume you're less likely to have an accident. So it wasn't the number of trailers, but more so the routes the trucks took that caused the lower accident rate. If a question asks you to strengthen a causality argument, then you want to eliminate one of the two ways that traditionally a causality argument is weakened. So in this case, the argument says that we observe people who have travel stresses, they are more likely to get insomnia. And they cite things like changes in climate and disruption of routine and culture shock. Then they conclude that these stresses cause the insomnia. So the argument is, I observe travel and I observe insomnia, therefore I think travel is causing the insomnia. And one of the ways that you could weaken that argument would be to say, no, actually, insomnia causes people to travel. Meaning people who can't sleep anyway, they think, well, I can't sleep, so I might as well travel. So the insomnia comes before the travel. But since we want to strengthen the argument, we want to find something that reinforces the original red analysis, and that is that the travel causes the insomnia. And the correct answer points out that people who already suffer from insomnia are not more likely to travel. And while that doesn't prove the original argument, it certainly does strengthen it by suggesting that we got the order right, that the travel comes before the insomnia.